Good morning and welcome to Zen Fits. Here we are in Blackstone, beautiful day in Virginia. Blackstone, the center of the world, but then you too are the center of the world. So the title of today's Zen Fit is Impeachment, or Trump and the Scopes monkey trial. Do you know what the Scopes monkey trial was? Let me read you from Wikipedia. The Scopes trial, formerly known as the State of Tennessee versus John Thomas Scopes, and commonly referred to as the Scopes monkey trial, was an American legal case in July 1925 in which the substitute high school teacher John Scopes was accused of violating Tennessee's Butler Act, which had made it unlawful to teach human evolution in any state-funded school. The trial was deliberately staged in order to attract publicity to the small town of Dayton, Tennessee, where it was held. Scopes was unsure whether he had actually taught evolution, but he incriminated himself purposely so that his case could have a defendant. Scopes was found guilty and fined $100, equivalent to $1,400 in 2018. But the verdict was overturned on a technicality. The trial served its purpose of drawing attention, national publicity, as national reporters flocked to Dayton to cover the big-name lawyers who had agreed to represent each side. William Jennings Bryan, three-time presidential candidate, argued for the prosecution, while Clarence Darrow, the famed defense attorney, spoke for Scopes. The trial publicized the fundamentalist modernist controversy, which set the modernist who said evolution was not inconsistent with religion against fundamentalists who said the Word of God, as revealed in the Bible, took priority over all human knowledge. The case was thus seen as both a theological contest and a trial on whether modern science should be taught in schools. But primarily what happened was, in 1925, the fundamentalists lost, and fundamentalists faded from the view. But it's resurged politically. It's fundamentalism, evangelical, has become politicized. And so today's trial, the impeachment trial of Trump, is really, in my view, in the wide-angle view that I'm using here and sharing with you, a reenactment of the Scopes monkey trial. So don't get caught up in the idea that Trump's a monkey. No, the trial was called a monkey trial just to publicize it. Now, the basic core of the trial was that evolution, which is modern science view of reality as change, as evolving, against the fundamentalist view, or the religious view, that reality is fixed, created by God and fixed in categories of meaning that are found in the Bible. So the Bible, or the stories of the Bible, you see, are the reference to the meaning of reality. Now, this is the Middle Ages. The Middle Ages of Europe was a fixed view of reality, and the reference to validate that view was the Bible. So any scientific discovery had to be referenced to the Bible to see if it was true. But when Copernicus and Galileo and other scientists began to look at reality directly, Copernicus started with Galileo telescope looking directly at the planetary movements and showing that the Earth revolved around the sun, which was a contradiction to the biblical view that the sun revolves around the Earth, which is common sense. I mean, you know, the sun rises in the east, that's in the north. Well, obviously, the Earth is fixed and the sun is moving around. So since this was common sense, validated by the Bible and the ancient cosmology of the ancient civilizations, you see, direct evidence contradicted that. Well, the point is that creation design and belief in a fixed universe is a story reference to the Bible. So the Bible is our authority to validate the world and its meaning and my place in it. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, unless it's pitted against the modern view on the same playing field. Now, just to cover a lot of ground here, but the modern secular, scientific, materialistic worldview has been the dominant worldview of European civilization, Western civilization, and now global civilization since the end of the Middle Ages. And it's produced air conditioning, all the civilization, all the comforts we have now is produced by that view. And it's basically an unfixed view of reality, in the sense that reality is changing. So you have to keep coming up with new theories about what's true and test them out by scientific validation. And a theory is always, and a scientific theory is made to be disproved, but not a religious theory. A religious theory is fixed, and it's made to never be disproved because it's fixed. And it gives us a fixed reference point, you see, like a compass. It's like being at sea and you don't know where you are, or you're in the forest and you don't, but you see a cabin. Oh, the cabin's on I know where that cabin is. Everything falls in. We all experience that. You dope off somewhere when you're driving and suddenly you, where am I? What happened? And you see a sign or you see a building or you see, oh, I know where I am. And everything goes, you're fixed. That one point fixes you. But in the modern world, in the world we're living in now, change is happening rapidly. It's called modernity. It's terrifying. We all experience that. All of our home has been asphalted over. Everything is changing. All the kids have moved out. Everything is changing. Blackstone, for people who grew up here, is a fixed point. You come back here, oh, that's where I worked as a kid. Oh, that's where my grandmother lived. Oh, that's where I grew up. That's where I went. That's a fixed point in the world. And they go out and live in suburbia where the bulldozers are coming and everything is changing. And new stores are coming and old ones are going away and everything is changing. But they come home and, I'm fixed. I know where I am. I know who I am. It's a fixed point, you see. That's why when I say, Blackstone, you're at the center of the world, but then you too are at the center of the world. We all need a fixed point. Well, fundamentalism, fundamentalism has always been a counter to modernity, which is secular materialism, scientific world, which is seeing the world as change. Nothing is fixed. You can't find a fixed point in the universe. You cannot, science cannot find one thing that's fixed, that doesn't move. Everything's moving. But we need a fixed point to be sane, to keep from falling into psychosis, to keep falling off a free fall, to avoid the void, to avoid ambiguity, and not knowing what to choose, what to do, where to go, who I am, where am I? That's terrifying. It's an anxiety attack. So we need a fixed point. So that's where fundamentalism come in, as a counter to the unfixedness of the modern world. However, what has happened is that fundamentalism, rather than finding the fixed point within, finds it without in a story. And now Trump has come along at the end of the at the end of 50 years of Republican worldview, movement conservatism that began with Nixon, this fundamentalist view of the world which offers a fixed view, a certainty, you see, a moral certainty. With the religious right, the Republicans have offered a moral certainty about what's true and what isn't. And so liberalism has been connected with modernity, science, change, evolution. Nothing's fixed. But we offer a fixed view. We offer security. We offer stability, law, and order. Fixed. Change, liberalism, Democrats, evolution, unfixed, chaos. Look at the 60s. Look at 1968. Look at the chaos of liberalism. Everything's unfixed. You don't know who men or women. You don't know who they are. Who's a man? Who's a woman? I don't know. Nobody's got a place. Everything is unfixed. We will secure, you see. So Trump came along and kind of like personified that. He kind of like gave himself as the fixed point, you see. So instead of fundamentalism pointing to God as the fixed point, which it did, God in the Bible fixes reality, Trump fixes reality. The story of Trump fixes the Republican Party. Trump and his story that he tells fixes reality, gives you moral security, affirmation, righteousness. And the liberals and the Democrats are demonic forces of change that will destroy your position, your validity, your privilege. They will just make you deplorables, you see. So this story of good and evil has kind of like become institutionalized. And now the impeachment trial, in this angle, this view that I'm giving here, is a reenactment of the Scopes trial, in that